Sorry for that. I'm glad to welcome our session speaker, Mr. Madhu and Mr. Rohit. Mr. Madhu, Senior Associate Patents, Fox Mandal Associates, Bangalore. Mr. Madhu has completed his BE Computer Science, Visvesvaraya Technical University, and is a skilled patent professional having over 10 years of practical experience in handling patent requirements of varied entities. He works in the intellectual property vertical at the firms of Bangalore office and has conducted over 700 patentability searches and drafted over 200 patents applications. With a positive outlook on patent disposition, he ensures that his clients receive holistic resolutions. He has worked with other well-known IP firms in India, and he has also handled all kinds of patent-related matters, including patentability assessment searches, infringement analysis, claim mapping, state-of-art searches, FTO searches, and establishing FTO opinions, technology landscaping, and white space analysis. He has worked with the R&D teams of multiple clients and assisted them in taking suitable IP enforcement actions pertaining to the innovations. He has worked majorly with entities in the information technology, education, consumer goods, and retail automotive, startups, textile apparels, and accessory sector. He is adaptive in nature to learn, and clear communication skill resonates well with his peers and clients. Next, Mr. Rohit Kumar, Associate Patent from Fox Mandal. He is also completed his MTech Biotechnology and is a patent associate at Fox Mandal's IP department, and is over 5 years of experience in IP. His experience pertains to domains such as biotechnology, pharma, and general life science. He advises the client on patent-related matters, and his main expertise is in drafting, filing, both national and PCT, and prosecution of patent application. He also provides for filing suggestions for filing patents for startups. Further, Rohit has hands-on experience in conducting prior patent searches in various patent search databases such as Google Patent, SpaceNet, FPO, PatentScope, and Harbit. Thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation, for giving the session today. Thank you, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you for the very warm welcome. To start with, thanks for giving an opportunity. I thank Pradyusha Engineering College for giving us an opportunity to present session on patentability inventions and statutory exceptions to patentability. So we will divide this session into two parts. So me and my colleague will be handling this session. So I will be taking certain parts in the session and we will be handling the remaining part. So let's see what all the topics we're going to cover with this presentation. Today we are going to cover fundamentals of intellectual property, patents and patentable inventions, and statutory exceptions to patentability. And we are covering the extra two additional topics, that is rights of patentee and statutory exceptions per patent. So I will be covering the first three sections and my colleague will be covering the remaining two sections. So let's get into the presentation and see what all the fundamentals of intellectual property. So what is an intellectual property? Intellectual property is a unique creation of a human mind. So whatever the unique creations which are coming out of human mind, that can be considered as an intellectual property. Say, for example, inventions, literary works, artistic works, brand names, designs, symbols, names, sound, music, painting, videos, photographs, and trade secrets are considered to be an intellectual property. So is there any means to protect these kind of intellectual properties? Yes, we have intellectual property rights. So whatever the human creation, we have some kind of intellectual property to protect such kind of intellectual properties. So let's see what is an intellectual property right. Every intellectual property available which gives an exclusive right for a person for his unique creation. So generally they give a creator an exclusive right for a period of time that is mentioned in the specific provisions. For example, if you consider a patent, so that will be having a 20 years of time. So how these intellectual properties can be created? Every country will have their specific laws. So these intellectual properties will be created by passing in the legislation. So let's see what all the types of intellectual properties available and how which intellectual property protects what. Let's see in the coming slide. These are the types of intellectual property rights available. For example, patents, trademarks, copyrights, industrial designs, trade secrets, and geographical indications. If a human unique creation is an invention, that can be protected with patents. If a human unique creation is some brand names or some names or some logos, so such kind of things can be protected through trademarks. If the unique creation is literary work, artistic work, such kind of things can be protected through copyrights. If aesthetic creations and look and feel of a product, that can be protected. That can be protected as an industrial design. If anything which is secret formulation, creation of some soft drink, say for example, Coca-Cola. So how the formulation for Coca-Cola can be protected with trade secret. Such kind of formulations can be protected with the trade secret. For example, if a product or an article which is coming from a particular geographical location, that can be protected through trade secrets. For example, Mysore silks, which are very unique, which are coming from the region Mysore. So these can be protected through geographical indicator. Similarly, Kanchivaram sarees, which can be protected through geographical indicators. For example, if we have a product, that product can eligible for many intellectual property rights. Say for example, considering a phone, the name, the brand name of the phone can be eligible for a trademark. So the software, the technicality behind developing the phone, so that belongs to patent. The software, the user manuals which are written to understand how can the machine can be, how can the phone can be operated, that can be protected under copyrights. The aesthetic view, look of the phone, that can be protected through design, industrial designs. So if anything which is not to be disclosed in the public domain, so that can be protected through trade secrets. Let's move on to the next slide. So what happens if an IP is not protected? For example, an inventor comes with an invention. What if he don't protect his invention through patents? It's because if you don't protect, you will be no authorization for you. Somebody can come easily and they can copy and they can come up with the product and they can commercialize it. Since you don't have protection in the particular jurisdiction, they can easily freedom to operate. You cannot even catch hold of him since you don't have protection on it. So that's why it's always good to protect invention when it will be benefit for the creator, because the creator will be putting a lot of his effort to coming up with an invention. He will be spending a lot of time in the research labs. He will be spending a lot of money to manufacture come up with that particular invention. So it's always good idea to protect an invention once it is invented. So let's understand what is patent. Patent is an exclusive right granted for a person for his invention. That can be a product or process that generally provides a new way of doing something or offers a new technical solution to a problem. If anything, if the invention is a product or process and which gives a solution to an existing problem, that can be considered as a patent. So while reading the definition, we have come across exclusive right. What does this exclusive right means? So this gives particular rights to the inventor or the owner. Say for an inventor or the applicant will give an exclusive right. What are those exclusive rights? So once we have an invention and we file with the patent office, once we get a grant, we get all these facilities. So once we have a patent in our hand, it will prevent others from manufacturing using that particular invention, or it prevents him to sell that particular product, or he cannot offer to somebody to sell such a product because we have a patent on our name. And it will also prevent importing such kind of products from somewhere else. So these are the exclusive right one can enjoy if he file his invention for patent, and once it gets a grant on his name. Why these kind of exclusive rights are given to the inventor? Because, as I said in the previous slide, because the inventor will be putting a lot of his time and effort and money in it to come up with such kind of invention. So that has to be rewarded for him. That's why these exclusive rights are given in the statutory, so that he can enjoy a time of 20 years. So he can come up with a product, or he can commercialize that product, he can monetize out of it. And he can license it to somebody else and he can get the royalty out of it. So in order to benefit the patentee, so these kind of exclusive rights are there. And one more thing is, this is some kind of encouragement for the people to come up with new inventions and to find the solutions to the existing problem. If we don't reward, so nobody will come up with their innovations, because only when there is a reward, people will struggle to get that such kind of rewards. That's the reason these kind of exclusive rights are provided to the patent holder. So if we have an invention, so do we get a patent grant for every invention? No. So the Indian Patent Act mentions some patentability criteria. So that needs to be fulfilled. One, if you want to get a grant for a particular invention. So what are those patentability criteria? The first patentability criteria is novelty. The second patentability criteria is non-obviousness or inventive step. The third patentability criteria is industrial applicability. So if any invention which need to qualify for a patent, that must satisfy these three things. If any invention qualifies for these patentability criteria, will that be patentable? No, there are some statutory exceptions are there that also need to be fulfilled. That we will see in the upcoming slide. Now we will see what is this patentability criteria one by one. Before getting into that, so we will see what is an invention. So the Patent Act clearly laid down a definition for what is an invention. According to the section 21J of the Indian Patent Act, invention means that should be a new product or process which should involve an inventive step and capable of industrial application. If any invention which is new product or process involving an inventive step and capable of industrial application, then that is qualified for a patent grant. So let's see these patentability criteria one by one. So as I said, one of the patentability criteria is new or novel. So any inventor, if comes up with an invention, that should be new. It should be first of kind in the world. So then only he can be eligible for a patent grant. So what does it mean? First of its kind. That should not be available anywhere in the world in any form. So it should not be published in India or elsewhere. It should not be in the prior public knowledge. So nobody should have known this particular invention, and nobody should have been used in India or elsewhere, and nobody should have filed a patent for it. Nobody should have claimed before you are filing an application. So this is, if he satisfies all these things, then it can be considered as novel. For example, when we file a patent application and when it comes for an examination, what the examiner will do? Examiner will check for anticipation, whether it is available anywhere in the world. So you will be having a lot of means to check it. So today we have the World Wide Web. We can check sitting at home, we can check what's happening anywhere, who have published what, who have filed what kind of patents. So we can able to research on the internet and we can find patentable literature as well as non-patentable literature. For patentable literature, we have paid databases, we have free databases. So whoever filing anywhere in the world, so every week those patents will be updated in the paid databases. So the examiner will look into the paid databases with the specialized queries. He will generate this search hits and he will go through it. And if something which is similarly existing, then he will cite it as a prior art. So if he gets a prior art, then the novelty of our invention will be lost. There are non-patent literature databases. Anything which is anywhere available, say for example, if somebody has written something in any book, if that is similar to our invention, that is not patentable. For example, if you yourself publish your invention anywhere in the public domain, or if you speak anywhere, something, so it will be, you will be losing the novelty. So one thing everyone should keep in their mind is, whenever, if you have an invention in your mind, you should not disclose it in the public domain. Till when? Till you are filing a provisional specification. So once you have filed an application with the patent office, so you should not disclose your invention anywhere in the public domain. So everyone should keep this in mind, otherwise you will lose novelty of your invention. That is one of the basic criteria and for an invention to qualify for a patent. If the novelty is lost, then definitely an invention will not get a grant for a patent. Let's move into the next slides. So the another important patentability criteria is inventive step. So section 2(1)(JA) says a feature of an invention that involves technical advance as compared to the existing knowledge or have economic significance or both, and makes the invention not obvious to the person skilled in the art. What does it mean? So any invention, if the inventor comes with, that should have a technical advancement. For example, you have some prior art. If you come up with an invention, so that should be technically advanced compared to the existing solutions. So then that will be qualified for a patent. For example, right now the vehicles, an engine of a two-wheeler, which may be providing around 50 to 60 kilometers per liter, a mileage of a fuel efficiency of 50 to 60 kilometers per liter, maybe 80 kilometers some vehicle. If somebody comes with an engine which can able to produce 150 kilometers per liter, such kind of fuel efficiency, then we can consider it as inventive over the existing mechanism. For example, I will give you another example. If somebody is replacing of a wooden knob in an Almara by a metallic knob, so it is not considering inventive. There is not much technical significance or technical advancement in it, because earlier it was wooden knob, he has come with a metallic knob. That is very obvious to the person skilled in the art. So what is person skilled in the art? So person skilled in the art is an hypothetical person. He can be a virtual person having ordinary skills in the art. So he will be aware of the technology area. So he will be having all the common general knowledge with respect to that particular technology with respect to the relevant date. And he has access to everything in the prior art. So he have access to patent literature. He has access to non-patent literature. So he will be considered as a skilled in the art. So that's why every invention must have a technical significance and economic significance. So then the invention is considered to be inventive. The third patentability criteria is industrial application. The section 2(1) AC states that if any invention which qualifies for a patent that should be industrially applicable, that invention must be capable of being made or used in any kind of industry. What does it mean? Capable of being made or used in any kind of industry. For example, if somebody comes with an invention, say for example, that's an abstract idea. So he even himself don't know how to implement it. So, I mean, how to come up with a product. So if it is of no use. So if he himself, if he is not able to implement it, then it's of no use. That means it cannot be manufactured in any industry. Such kind of inventions are not patentable. So any invention that can be manufactured under any industry, such kind of inventions are patentable, and it should be used in any industry. That should have some utility in it. If somebody comes with an invention and it's of no use, then it's not eligible for patent. So we have seen the patentability criteria as novel, non-obvious, and industrial application or utility. If an invention satisfies all these criteria, will our invention eligible for a patent grant? No. There are some statutory exceptions available in the Patent Act. So we need to look into it. One has to look into it. So if any invention which falls with such kind of provisions will not be eligible for a patent grant. Let's see what are those statutory exceptions to patentability. There are two sections in the Patent Act, Section 3 and Section 4. So these are clearly defines what are the inventions which are not patentable. Let's see one by one what all those provisions and how prevents an invention to get a patent grant. Section 3. Section 3 has a lot of provisions. I will just read one by one, and in the later slides, I will be explaining. So what is that? And I will give some examples to it so that you guys can better understand. Section 3A states that inventions that are frivolous and contrary to natural laws are not patentable. Section 3B states that inventions which go against public morality are not patentable. Section 3C states that inventions that are a mere discovery of something that are already existing in nature are not patentable. Section 3D states that the mere discovery of form already existing in nature does not lead to any enhancement of efficacy or not patentable. Section 3F states that mere aggregation or duplication of devices working in a known way are not patentable. Section 3G is omitted from the Act. Section 3H states that horticulture or agriculture methods are not patentable. Section 3I states that medical, curative, prophylactic, diagnostic, therapeutic for treating diseases in human and animals are not patentable. Section 3J states that plants and animal in whole or any part thereof other than microorganisms, but including seed varieties and essential biological process for production or propagation of plants and animals are not patentable. A literary or dramatic, musical or artistic work or any other aesthetic creations whatsoever, including cinematographic productions, are not patentable. A mere scheme of rule or method of performing mental act or method of playing game are not patentable. And presentation of information is not patentable. Section 3O states that the topography of integrated circuits are not patentable. Section 3P states that an invention which in effect is a traditional knowledge or which is in aggregation or duplication of known properties of traditionally known components are not patentable. Section 3 is a big list of statutory exceptions. One should be aware of it, because even though our invention has novelty, non-obviousness, and utility or industrial application. So our invention may not get a patent grant. Let's see one by one what is this particular provisions and what are the inventions which are not eligible for a patent grant. Section 3A. Section 3A states that frivolous inventions contrary to well-established natural laws are not patentable. Can somebody please mute your voice?
Hello. Someone has unmuted it. Please mute it.
Section 3A states that inventions which are frivolous, inventions which are contrary to well-established natural laws are not patentable. Let's understand what is frivolous inventions. What are frivolous inventions? Frivolous invention which are created something for fun and are of no use are not patentable. Inventions which are contrary to well-established natural laws. So any invention which is against or opposing any existing natural laws are not patentable. For example, perpetual missions. Perpetual missions claims that they can work infinitely, continuously without any energy source. So that's what the perpetual missions. The perpetual machines continuously work without any energy source. So this is completely against to law of thermodynamics. What law of thermodynamics states? Law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be created nor be destroyed. It can be transferred from one form to another form. So if you want to do some work, there should be an energy source to perform and work. So whereas these perpetual machines doesn't require any energy source. That's why this is against to law of thermodynamics. That's why it is not patentable. Another example, machine that gives more than 100% performance, that is not patentable. Because any invention which have some kind of energy loss. So no invention is ideal. Let's see what section 3B. Section 3B states commercial exploitation or primary use of inventions which is contrary to public order, morality are not patentable. Any invention which is against the public order, which disturbs the public, or which is the public's ethics can be disturbed. So such kind of things are not patentable. For example, if somebody comes with the invention called gambling machine, so this is against to the public order or the morality of people. So that's why these kind of inventions are not patentable. Any device or operators or machine method for committing a theft or a burglary. So if anybody comes with an invention so that he can break open the door of an house very easily with that particular device, and he can able to theft. So such kind of devices are not patentable. Any machine or method of counterfeiting of currency notes. If somebody comes with a machine, a fake currency printing machine, so that inventions are not patentable. If anybody comes with a method or a device to adulterate food products or pesticides, so such kind of inventions are not patentable. Section 3B also excludes patents on commercial exploitation or primary use of inventions which causes serious prejudice to health or human or animal or plant life or to the environment. Any invention which is harmful to health of human being or animal or to the environment, such kind of inventions are not patentable. For example, biological warfare materials or devices or weapons of mass destruction. If anybody comes with such kind of invention, and such kind of inventions are not patentable under Section 3B of the Indian Patent Act. What is Section 3? Section 3 states that mere discovery of a scientific principle or formulation of an abstract theory, discovery of any living thing, or discovery of non-living thing substances occurring in nature are not patentable. What is this mere discovery of scientific principle? We need to understand the term discovery. Discovery is something. So if you want to discover something, it should be already somewhere available. So it is already available in the nature and somebody founds it. So that kind of inventions are not patentable. Formulation of an abstract theory. So somebody come with a theory, we can able to explain that can be done like this, that can be, we can do like this, this is what it gives. But if you're not able to implement it, so such kind of inventions are not patentable. For example, superconducting phenomenon as such. So mere discovery of scientific principle, Newton's law was already there. He has just discovered it. He has not invented it. So such kind of inventions are not patentable. And discovery of any living things. So many creatures are present on Earth. So till now we have not found all the varieties. So if somebody comes with a new animal, he has discovered some new animal or new whatever, new organism. So that is not patentable. If discovery of non-living substances occurring in nature, for example, some natural gas or some minerals, if somebody finds a natural gas or mineral, such kind of things are not at all patentable. And if somebody discovers another planet, so that cannot be patented. So Section 3 excludes all these things. What is Section 3D states? 3D states that the mere discovery of a new form of a known substance which does not result in enhancement of the efficacy of the substance, or the mere discovery of any new property of new use of a known substance, or the new use of a process, machine, or apparatus, unless such known process result in a new product or employs at least one reactant. So what does it mean? A mere discovery of a new form of a known substance. For example, some crystalline salts will be there. So if you come up with a new product, new form of that crystalline form, so that cannot be patented. And in this section, salts, esters, ethers, polymers, metabolites, pure form of particles, isomers, mixtures of isomers, complexes, combinations, and complex combinations and other derivatives of known substance shall be considered to be the same substance unless they differ significantly in properties with regard to efficacy. So if somebody comes with a new form of a known substance, so if that a new form, if significantly, if it has got a higher efficacy than the known substance, then it can be patentable. Otherwise, it is not patentable. For example, if somebody discovers a new property of a known substance, unless it produces a new product or at least one new reactant, it is not patentable. Say, for example, crystalline forms of known substances are not patentable. New use of aspirin for art elements. For example, it's like aspirins are generally used for treating any art elements. So for example, if somebody comes with, so the aspirin can be used for any other purpose. Aspirin is already known. So if somebody finds out it, this can be used for another purpose. So that is not patentable. Mere use of a neem. So neem is a well-known thing. So if he is like, generally we use it as a pesticide. If somebody comes with something like this, can be used like this to avoid something or to prevent something. So that is not patentable. Usage of paracetamol for some new diseases is not patentable. Paracetamol is generally used for treating fever. If somebody comes with and say, okay, the paracetamol can be used in the treatment of COVID, then that cannot be patentable. What is section 3E states that substances obtained by a mere admixture resulting only in the aggregation of properties of the components thereof or a process of producing such substances are not patentable. For example, if you mix it two products which are already very well known and come up with the third component, so then that is not patentable. I'll give you some examples. Paracetamol is an antipyretic, and paracetamol is an antipyretic that will be used for treating fever. Whereas ibuprofen is an analgesic, which is used for treating pain. So if somebody combines paracetamol and ibuprofen and come with the product, and that can be used for treating fever as well as pain. So this will independently act separately and treats fever and pain. So these kind of properties, there is no new property in it. They will act independently. They show their own property, even though if it is combined together. So that's why these things are not patentable. Solution of sugar and color additives. If you had sugar and some color additive in water and to form a soft drink, if you create a new soft drink, so you are just mixing it. You are just mixing one product, another product, and another product. So they all combine together and they will show their properties. Sugar will give sweet, additive will give color. So it shows its own property. There is no change in it. That is very well known to everybody. So admixture of two or more things to get a new product, such kind of things are not patentable. What is section 3F states? Section 3F states mere arrangement or rearrangement or duplication of noun devices, each functioning independently of one another in a noun way. In the earlier slide, we have seen admixture of components or compounds or whatever. Here we are seeing mere arrangement or rearrangement. If there are already two devices are existing in nature, two devices are already existing. If somebody comes with, he can combine those two devices and comes with another device, so that cannot be patentable. For example, an umbrella with a fan. Umbrella is very well known in the art. Fan is very well known in the art. If somebody combines, he arranges or he makes some arrangement or rearrangement, he can come up with a product, umbrella with a fan. That kind of inventions are not patentable. And the mosquito swat with a torch. Torch is very well known. Mosquito swat is very well known. If somebody arranges and rearranges and come up with a mosquito swat with a torch, that kind of things are not patentable. So there are other examples: a bucket fitted with a torch, an umbrella with a fan, a clock and a radio in a single cabinet, a flour mill provided with a sieving, a mosquito swatter with a torch, a pencil with an eraser. So these kind of mere arrangement and rearrangement of products to result in another product are not patentable. What is section 3H states? 3H states method of agriculture or horticulture are not patentable. So the Indian Patent Act excludes any method of doing agriculture or horticulture are not patentable. This is like, these are some statutory exceptions or something which benefits the humanity. So if somebody comes with agriculture mechanism and if he protects, so nobody can use it without his consent or permission or license. That's why these statutory exceptions are made to benefit the people. So what are those examples? Cultivation of an algae, cultivation of mushrooms. If you find out a method, okay, if I use this particular method, I can grow very good yield of mushrooms. That is not patentable. Producing new form of a noun plant. If you invent a method, say for example, people use grafting to produce new plants. So that is not patentable. Preparation of an improved soil. For example, if you want, you will come up with an invention, which method which will enhance the fertility of the soil. So that cannot be patentable. If somebody comes with a special weed removal methods, So if you follow that method, weeds can be removed very quickly, and the weeds it can be easily removed. So such kind of methods are not patentable. However, agriculture equipments are patentable if they satisfy the fundamental patentability criteria such as novelty, non-obviousness, and industrial applicability. Section 3I states that any process for medical, surgical, curative, prophylactic, diagnostic, therapeutic, or other treatments of human beings are similar treatments of animals to render them free of disease or to increase their economic value or that of their products. So any medical methods. So, but if somebody comes with a medical method, so that is not patentable. For example, administrating medicines process orally. If somebody comes with a method how the medicine can be administered orally, those things are not patentable. Surgical methods. If somebody comes with a new way of doing a cataract operation, that is not patentable. Cleaning, curative methods, cleaning a plague process. So such kind of things are not patentable. Prophylactic methods. What are prophylactic methods? It's a kind of vaccination method. If somebody comes with the method of vaccinating, so such kind of things are not patentable. Diagnostic methods. So if somebody finds a new way of taking an X-ray, those are not patentable. If somebody comes with a new way of blood diagnostic process, so those are not patentable. Similarly, any method of treating animals to render them free of diseases or to increase their economic value are not patentable. For example, if somebody comes with the sheep treatment method to increase the wool yield. So if anybody follows that particular method, you can get the better yield of the wool. So such kind of things are not patentable. Cosmetic surgery and cosmetic any method for doing such kind of surgeries are not patentable. However, any devices for surgical, therapeutic, or any devices which help in doing the same can be patentable. Surgical, therapeutic, or diagnostic operates or instruments are patentable. What is Section 3J states that? Section 3J states that plants and animal in whole or any part thereof. Here, this section excludes microorganisms, but including seeds, varieties, and species, and especially biological process for production or propagation of plants and animals are not patentable. So any animal, plant in whole or in parts are not patentable. For example, clones and new varieties of plant. If somebody is doing cloning, so to get a new variety of breed, so such kind of things are not patentable. A process for production of plants, if somebody comes with a new process of how the plants can be produced or animals can be produced, and if it consists entirely a natural phenomena, then such kind of things are not patentable. And if any invention which involves an essential biological process, which is very well known in the nature, so such kind of things are not patentable. Section 3K states that mathematical methods or business method or algorithms or computer program per se are not patentable. If anybody comes with a new way of calculating, or if anybody comes with new sorting mechanism, so such kind of things are not patentable. If business methods are not patentable. So if somebody comes with a business method, how to improve sales, how to improve the leads, so such kind of methods are not patentable. Algorithms. So if somebody writes an algorithm, so such kind of things are not patentable. Computer program per se. Computer program alone will not be eligible for a patent. However, new calculating machines and combination of novel hardware and software is patentable only if they satisfy the patentability criteria such as novel, non-obvious, and industrial application. What is Section 3L states? Section 3L states that any literary work, dramatic work, musical, artistic work, or any other aesthetic creations, including cinematographic work and television productions, are not patentable. If anybody comes with a new novel, that cannot be protected with a patent. If anybody comes with a new play, drama, so that cannot be patentable. If anybody comes with a new musical work, so if anybody new songs, so that cannot be patented. Some web designs, new layouts of web designs, that cannot be patented. If the motion pictures, that are not patentable. Videos, images, those are not patentable. Why? Because these kind of literary and artistic works can be copyrighted but not patented. Section 3M states that a mere scheme or rule or a method of performing mental act or method of playing game are not patentable. What is this? Somebody develops a scheme or a method, plan, how to learn a language. So if you follow that particular process, it's very easy for you to learn the language. But such kind of things are not patentable. If somebody comes with a very easy and quick mechanism, how easily you can solve the crossword puzzle, such kind of methods are not patentable. For example, method of teaching and learning, such kind of things are not patentable. Method of playing a chess. So for example, if you follow that particular methodology, so it's very easy to win. So such kind of methodologies are not patentable. So if somebody comes with a method or process, or a plan for becoming rich, so that is not patentable. A plan for the efficient conduct of business. So if you follow this particular method which I have provided, you can success in your business, or you can efficiently conduct your business. So those things are not patentable. What is Section 3N states? Section 3N states presentation of information. What is this presentation of information? For example, one form of information can be present in another form. For example, textual information can be rendered in a diagrammatic form. So that is very easily understandable. So such kind of presentation of information are not patentable. Examples, any manner or method of expressing information. However, the way you express the information which is available in one form, such kind of things are not patentable. If the spoken words, visual display, symbols, diagrams, these are not patentable. Section 3O. What Section 3O states that? Section 3O states that topography of integrated circuits. So what is this topography of integrated circuits? See, when a semiconductor circuit that can be designed in the layout of the semiconductor can be designed in many ways. So those are very unique in nature. So even then, those are not patentable. Because ICs can be protected by the Semiconductor Integrated Circuit Layout Design Act 2000. So hence, these cannot be protected through the patents. Section 3P, inventions which involves a traditional knowledge or an aggregation or duplication of a known properties or a known component or components. Anything which is, because traditional knowledge is very well known, our ancestors are following this traditional knowledge from very long. So if somebody goes and files a patent for this, that is not patentable. So for this purpose, the Indian government has come up with a website called TKDL. So where they have all the possible traditional knowledge they have, our ancestors has practiced in the olden days. They have recorded in that particular database. If anybody interested, they can look into it, TKDL. So traditional knowledge already in public domain, which are not patentable. usage of turmeric and haldi as an antiseptic for wound healing are not patentable. Neem being used as a pesticidal or insecticidal activities are not patentable. Because in 2000 or 2013, somebody in UK, they have protected an invention for turmeric for wound healing. So when the Indian government came to know this, they have filed the application for this. They immediately provided this traditional knowledge, which whatever the traditional knowledge available, we have practicing this from ancient times. So there is already prior art which is already available. So they have produced all the documents to the UK Patent Office, and therefore they have squashed that particular patent applications. Anything which involves a traditional knowledge, that is not patentable. Statutory in the statutory exceptions, section 4. Section 4 states that inventions falling with section 21 of the Atomic Energy Act 1962 are not patentable. Even any invention which is related to atomic energy are not patentable. Why? Because this is very important. It's like if anybody comes with an invention related to atomic energy, if that comes to public domain, say for example, if the patent is granted and it is published, anybody can access because it will be available. If anybody can produce such kind of invention, that will be a huge damage to the country and the world. So such kind of inventions will not be eligible for a patent grant. For examples, invention relating to compounds of uranium, beryllium, thorium, plutonium, radium, graphite, lithium, and more has notified by the central government. Central government, by time to time, they may include whatever they feel that is not suitable to have a patent grant. So these are the statutory exceptions under section 4. With this, I am concluding my part in the presentation, and there are two additional important topics which my colleague Rohit will be covering. That is very important, even though that is not part of our that is not part of our thing which the college has set. So even though for the benefit of students, we have included those two sections, and my colleague will be taking those sections. Rohit, please take it forward. Rohit? Rohit, am I audible?
Yeah, sorry. You're audible. There was some lag in the connection. Some voice was not coming. Okay.
No problem.
Thank you, Madhu, and very warm welcome. Myself, Rohit. Yeah. So very warm welcome. Myself, Rohit Kumar, and I will handling the second segment of this presentation called Statutory Exception for Patent. So before we go into this, I just want to give a brief background. So what are the topic I'm gonna cover? So as you aware, my colleague Madhu has explained what are the patentability criteria. So in order
we are not able to hear you, sir.
wait.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Rohit, you are on mute.
Now,
It is clear now.
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
Rohit, please speak a little bit louder.
Am I audible right now?
Yes, yes, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Wait, I will try that. So, right now I'm audible properly.
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Okay,
Please.
okay. So I think you all guys missed the start only. So I will start again. Good afternoon. Statutory exception of patent. So this topic, this topic specifically covers. Yeah, right. This topic covers after grant of patent. This comes into picture of the grant of the patent. So my colleague Madhu has explained what are the also. He has explained it. So what I'm going to cover is once patent is granted, what are the exceptions of the patent right? So let's just say somebody else a patent and he will be granted certain exclusive rights by the patent office. And those rights, so what are those rights? So as you can see on the screen, the rights are act of making, act of using, act of selling, and importing that product in India. So basically, any person who got the patent, who's holder of a patent, can use these rights for his particular patent application. I have given an example. You can see on the screen, locomotion assist device. It's a product, or you can say it's a system. Basically, it's an exoskeleton device which is used by today's many militaries of the countries. It's like provide additional mechanical strength. It's just an example. Now we go forward. So the same thing be applied for a process patent.
Sir, we are unable to see the screen, sir.
I shared that with.
Requesting you to kindly share the screen, sir.
Rohit, you want me to move the slides?
So if possible, Madhu, please kindly you share. Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
You share from your end.
Sure.
Yeah.
So right now we are talking about the rights of patentee.
Yes. So you can move one slide forward.
Okay.
Yeah, here. So now I'm talking about this example. You can see it's the continuation of the section 48 only. Basically, it's talking about the process patent. So like the patent can be granted for two things mainly: product or process. How to make a product. So that process can also be patented. Here the example has been given: method of personalizing an appliance using interface. Or if you want to a simple example, you can say any drug, the process to make a drug, which is unique. So that can be patentable. So any person who gets the patent have the exclusive right to make, sell, use, or import that patented product or process. So Madhu, can you move forward one slide, please?
Yes.
So now we talk about the first section, which grants the right. So grants the right in the sense, what I mean to say that, what are the exceptions? Suppose somebody got the patent, what are the exceptions to those rights? So section 47. So it has mentioned, what is the section 47 say? It basically says that one thing very simply, the government can use or import or make any patent product or process for its own purpose. As simple as that. This is the law, this is the section which provides the government right to use any patent. This is the one thing. Now, if we cover the section 47, subsection point 3 in this. So that's a quite interesting one. So it says that any person, he has not to be related with the government, any person can use a patented invention without the authorization of the patent holder. So how can he use that? Well, there are two criteria for given. And the criteria are, if the person is using that patent product for experimentation, merely experimentation, or research including giving the knowledge to his students, like university professor can use a patent to describe the technology to their students for mainly for research and experimentation purpose only, no commercial use. Then that scenario, patents right will not be patent rights of the patent holder will not be infringed. So this is the exception. So government can use it, any person can use it, provided if he uses it for experimentation and research only. Madhu, can you move forward? Now the last point of section 47 is basically says that the same, the government can use this section to make or import any medical drug, medicine or drug, as simple as that. So by this section, if there is a urgency or some medical drug, government can, by using this section, can make or import any patented drug in India. So the section talks about this thing. Section 47 talks about these things. Madhu, next slide. Now the other section, that is section 49 of the Indian Patent Act. It's a quite interesting section. So what does it basically says that suppose somebody, let's just assume a citizen of France come into the territory of India. When I say territory of India, it also include territorial water, where India boundary starts, land, obviously, and the air. So as we know that patent rights are exclusive and nobody can use the patent if the authorization is not provided by the patent holder. Suppose the French citizen who is comes into the territory of India, he used a patented invention which is got patent in India. So whether it will amount to infringement? Well, it will not under this section if the two criteria are met. So suppose that French guy, a person, non-Indian French guy comes to the territory of India through a water vessel, let's say water ship or something. And then he used a patented invention that got patent in India on board only. On board means on the ship only for its actual needs. There is an emergency, there is some default with the engine, and that default can be repaired by that invention only. So in that case, the patent invention will not amount to infringement. So he can use the patented invention on board. And other is construction or working of the aircraft or the vehicle in which he has arrived in India. So these two criteria, if met, then patent rights are not be infringed. Madhu, next slide. Now, section 107A. So section 107 is quite similar in terms with the subsection 3 of section 47. The section subsection 3 of section 47 basically says that any person, whether he is affiliated to government or not, any person can use the patented invention, provided if he used for experimentation and research. The section 107 say authorized by the land of law, like law of India. Suppose any person can use, make, construct, import the patent invention, provided if he uses it for development and submission of information. So it says that. So there the difference is like that, where it is used, section 107, suppose we have medicines, drugs. So when you get a patent for some medicine drug, the patent lifespan is for 20 years. But you know, if you want to get a patent on a drug, or if you want to release a drug, so there are very higher regulatory authorities. The procedure is quite long. It will take time. Suppose you start inventing a drug, it will take 5 to 6 years after the clinical trials, preclinical trials and all, then the product will come into the market. So what companies do under this section, they will, before the expiry of the patent, suppose if that patent is required for some further research, they want to make a new medicine or some variation, suppose, then they, by under this section, they can, just before the expiry of the patent, like suppose for 16th year, when the patent is hit the 16th year, they can start, in order to comply with the regulatory authority procedure, they will start experimenting on the drug. When the patent is expired, they can apply for their product patent as per their wish. So these sections cover that part. This is like we are waiting, like this is quite controversial right now also. But even if we get a good case laws, like then we will have a clear picture, because with the companies whose patent got infringed or whose patent got studied are not quite happy with this. Madhu, next slide, please. Now, compulsory license. So I'm very sure that everyone must have heard of this term, compulsory license. So what does it say? In very simple term, what is compulsory license? Compulsory license are the authorization given to a third party by the controller to make, use, sell a particular product or particular process which has been patented. So section 83 to section 92A of the Indian Patent Act covers all the procedures, the requirements for the compulsory license. Specifically, section 84 and 92 discloses the prerequisite conditions. So here we're going to cover specifically about the compulsory license, which is section 84. Madhu, next slide. So section 84. So basically, as I mentioned earlier, what is a compulsory license? The controller of the patent can authorize any third person to make, use, sell the patented product or process. So how can he do that? Well, basically, in order to get a compulsory license, there are only three requirements, three major requirements. So what are those requirements? The first one is the reasonable requirement of the public with respect to a patented invention have not been satisfied. So what does that mean exactly? So suppose there is a demand of medicine, suppose demands in lakhs, or 1 lakh is required. This is example only. But the company who holds the patent is manufacturing very low amount. Suppose they are manufacturing around 10,000 or even less. So demand is high for that product, but the supply is very less. So the first requirement is checked in that case. A reasonable requirement of the public is not met. Now coming to the second one, patented invention is not available to the public at reasonably affordable price. What does it mean? That it's very straightforward. Suppose demand is 1 lakh, supply is also 1 lakh, but the prices are so high that nobody is able to afford it. Then this criteria will come into picture. Now, third one is patented invention is not work in the territory of India. So what does it mean? There are two things that. So when patent is granted, so patentee are supposed to manufacture the product in India. That is one thing. Or if they are manufacturing outside India, they should sell it in India, meeting above two requirements. Those are reasonable requirements of the public with respect to the patent invention should met, and the invention should be available to public at a reasonable, affordable price. Madhu, next slide. So, case law. So I'm just going to a very brief summary of the only compulsory license which has been granted in India, which is Natco Pharma, which is an Indian company, and Bayer Corporation. So what happened in that case? Bayer Corporation was holding a patent for one cancer treatment drug, and the Natco Pharma first filed a license for Bayer Corporation to get the product license to manufacture their product. They got rejected. Bayer Corporation rejected their license. Then they filed, Natco Pharma filed a compulsory license based on the three criteria which I mentioned earlier, which are it should be available, meet the requirement of the public, affordable price, and it should work in the territory of India. So based on these cases, after it's a quite interesting case, and you should check it out. It has a very detailed explanation on Wikipedia also, in case, because technical terms, legal terms sometimes are very quite become hectic for a person who is from not law background. So you can read it. It's very simple, and it's very quite interesting also. So after going through all the merits, the court has given the Natco Pharma compulsory license to produce or manufacture that particular drug. Madhu, next slide, please. Now the section 92. So section 92, what it says, special provision for compulsory license or notification by central government. So basically what it says there, so there is a difference between section 84, which is a compulsory license, and this compulsory license. What is that? Basically in section 84, what happens if person or some company or entity feels that these three requirements are not been met, not been met, then they can file application to get the compulsory license. In this case, in section 92, what happens if central government feels that the three criteria which are mentioned here, like first one is a circumstance of national emergency. Suppose a disease pandemic, TB, HIV, nowadays COVID. Second one, circumstance of extreme emergency. You can say natural disaster or a case of non-public commercial use. So if any of these three criteria have been met, so central government by themselves issue a notification that they are issuing a compulsory license. So any person interested or any entity interested can apply for the compulsory license. So here the difference is central government by themselves issue the notification for compulsory license. Whether in section 84, any person or entity, if they feel that the criteria laid down by the Patent Act, if they are meeting that criteria, they can apply for the compulsory license. Madhu, next slide. Now section 92A. So what is section 92A? Basically, it says that compulsory license for export of patented pharmaceutical products in certain exceptional circumstances. So what are those exceptional circumstances? So I give you one example. An example is given: grant of compulsory license to Natco Pharma for manufacturing drug for Nepal. So what happens, as we know that all countries are not rich. All countries doesn't have proper health infrastructure to produce medicines or healthcare services and all. So if some country who doesn't have a proper infrastructure or for healthcare or medicine, they request some another country to provide some medicines to them, then in that case, this section comes into picture. So what happens is that government of Nepal has requested Natco Pharma. Natco Pharma is the same company which got the first compulsory license in India. They requested the Natco Pharma for manufacturing and exporting one particular drug. It's a lung cancer drug, and it was the patent was holded by Roche, Switzerland pharma giant. So they asked for the manufacture and exportation of that drug. So the criteria was clearly met because there was not an issue in this case, because it is well known as Nepal doesn't have a proper health structure. So he was meeting, the country was meeting all the criteria, and the compulsory license was granted. Madhu, next slide. Now the last part, government use section 99 to 103. So these sections, starting from section 99 to section 103, covers the use of the patent by government. So when we say government, I was saying this term quite a lot, government, because in section 47, starting of my presentation, I mentioned that section 47 allows the government to use the patented product or process. What does it mean by government? So government here means central government, state government, any government undertaking. So what happens, because these are all very technical legal things, so I will just briefly explain and summarize with a very simple way what these sections allows. So basically, central government, by issuing a notification, can use a patented invention. So there the difference here is like that. Suppose somebody files a patent application, still government can use it, and if the patent is granted, still government can use it. So section 99 to 103 allows government to use any patented patent application or patent. So how they use, they issue a notification, then there's going to be formal contract between the patent holder and the government or the person or entity authorized by the government. There are going to be proper remuneration given to the patent holder, and all the disputes going to be set in or resolved in High Court. So these are the sections which covers the exceptions to the patents. So the key difference I want to point it out, all the exceptions does not it comes into picture once patent is granted. What my colleague Madhu has explained, patentability criteria, section 3 and 4, those are the criteria if you want to get the patent. If they are checking into those things, then you will get the patent accordingly in this section and all. Here, these things come into picture once the patent is granted. So once the patent holder writes, are those absolute? No, these sections provide some exceptions to that. So with this, I want to conclude this presentation. Thank you very much. Now we'll take any questions.
Thank you, sir. Participants kindly ask the questions if you have any. I request the participants to please post your questions either in the chat window or you please unmute yourself and speak.
Any questions?
Sir, there is a question in the chat window, sir, by Banu Revati Madam. Can a portable water purifier be patented? This is the question, sir.
See, there are already a lot of portable water purifiers are there. In case if that particular portable water purifier has novelty and inventive step and the utility, if satisfies that, then definitely that will be eligible for a patent.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions from participant side? You can please post it in the chat window. So there is a question by Madam Tiwari, I guess, sir. What is the difference between section 47 and section 9?
Yes, so that's a good question. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Go ahead.
So section 47 basically states that any patented invention can be used by government for mere its own use. That is there. And a section 9. Wait a second. I think they want to say section 99 or 100. Section 93 they are saying. So basically section says that government use. So in that scenario, what happens? Section 47 specifically talk about the use of the patented invention for the government use. Wherever the section 99 to 103, they talk about use of the patented invention same, but in that case, government will provide remuneration. There is no talk of the remuneration in the section 47. It clearly mentioned that. And here in section 47, only directly government can use it. I am talking about section 47. Government can use the patent invention, whereas in section 99 to 103, section 99 to 103, which covers the government use, allows the authorization. So suppose government can authorize some another third party, which is authorized by government only. They can also sell the invention, non-commercial use, only for the purpose of government only. So that is the basic difference. And the thing is that these sections are quite broad. So when we get the better picture, because law can be interpreted in both ways. So we are hasn't been many good case law. They're not enough, not good case law. I will say it's like not enough cases to get the exact what does that mean. So primarily, if you want to see the difference, section 99 to 103 provides the remuneration, and any third party can be authorized by the government. Whereas section 47 specifically says about government can only use, and there is there's no mention of the remuneration.
Thank you, sir. There is another question, sir. A metal forming machine with voice assisted feature is patentable or not? This is a question by Mr. Bhunesh Kumar, sir.
Of course, it can be patented, but the thing is, there are voice assistant is a very well-known, which is already available. So many patent applications have filed. If this is very unique and which has technical significance compared to the existing mechanism, then definitely yes, that can be eligible for a patent.
Thank you, sir. There is another.
Compared to the existing mechanisms, when we do a prior art search, that time we will get the closest prior arts. So we should be able to differentiate between the closest prior art and the inventions which we are planning to file the application.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. There is another question from Mr. Vinaya Sawan. Can software algorithms be patented?
No, that is strictly no. Software algorithms cannot be patented. That can be protected under a copyright law. So in case if a software with a novel hardware so which producing a technical significance, then definitely that can be eligible for a patent. But algorithm alone is not eligible for a patent.
Thank you, sir. There is a question from Mr. Gokul Anand. Sir, kindly say women priority patenting and startup patenting for fast patenting.
So it's like there are some provisions where, like when there is a woman in Mecca, so you can expedite the process and you can get a grant maybe within 1 year and 1.5 years. So that's a provision as given to the woman. So that will really helpful in getting a patent grant very fast.
Thank you, sir. There is another question. Without the support of the IPR consultants, can we proceed with the patent filing?
See, that's always a misconception. Like if you go to a patent attorney, they will charge too much and all. But you have to see the advantages involved in it. Because when we file an application, when it comes to examination, we will really understand what we have filed and what the objections we have received. When you go to a good patent attorney, you will take care of all those things. And so you can able to draft the application very well, and you can do a patentability research before filing an application, so that patent involves a lot of money in it. So you will be having the filing charges. You need to have a examination charges. All those things will be involved. So when we conduct a patentability search prior to filing an application, so then we will come to know that what is the strength of our invention, so that whether we can go ahead and file an application or not. So going with a patent attorney is always good advice rather than filing ourselves.
Thank you, sir. There is a question from Dr. Rakesh Kumar stating that, sir, I'm developing a product which are already available in the market. Then how can I patent it? Can be different in size, shape, working, technology, how it can be patented? That is a question.
Yeah, see, if the functionality is entirely different and the implementation is entirely different from the existing mechanism, then definitely that can be filed as a patent application. There is no issue in that. So in case if whatever the features or the functionalities, if they are exactly reading on the existing prior arts, then definitely not, because those existing prior arts will act as a prior art and the novelty will be killed. So hence it is not eligible for a patent grant.
Thank you, sir. Sampling inspection machine by using image-based recognition system, is it patentable or not? This is a question, sir.
Yes, of course it is patentable, because there are a lot of technicalities involved, and if that machine, there are sampling machines are already there. So in case this particular machine which has technical significance compared to the existing mechanisms, then definitely that can be eligible for a patent.
Okay, sir. There is another question. Mere admixtures and combinations are not patentable, but is there any way to protect them? This is a question by Mr. Tiwari.
Correct. Mere admixture is actually speaking not patentable. But if the resultant, the product which is coming from the mere admixture, so that efficacy should be more than the individual substance you are mixing it. So if the efficiency is more than the individual properties of those two substances, then definitely that can be eligible for a patent grant.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. How the patent office compare the invention patent and design, both that is already available or not? Is there any website or software for that? How we can?
Yes. See, once you file an application, when it comes to examination, the patent examiner will do a thorough research. He will do a prior art search. He will do a prior art search and he will come up with the first examination report. So there are paid patent databases, and there are freely available databases, and there are non-patent literature. They will go through each and everything. They will scrutinize. So they want to make sure that this is first of its kind. There should not be any prior art. In case if the prior art exists, then definitely it is not eligible for a patent grant. The novelty will not be there. So that's the reason they will do a thorough research on the invention, and they will produce a first examination report with the very closest prior arts.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your patience, sir. I hope there is no other questions from participant side. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Rohit sir, and thank you, Madhu sir. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
May I ask one doubt, ma'am?
Sure.
Yeah, sir. Actually, in computer science point of view, if there is an algorithm and I have proved that mathematically some changes to the algorithm, and I have proved that the efficiency is more. In this case, is it patternable or not, sir?
See, if it is a pure mathematical methods, so the sections are already, the statutory exceptions already says if it is a pure mathematical method, that is not patentable.
Okay, not patentable. So if it is completely a new algorithm, only then it is a patentable thing.
No. If it is for example, that can be run on a very new novel hardware. So that can be supported with a new novel hardware. Any features with a new novel hardware that can be patentable.
Okay, sir. Got it, sir. So in case if you wanted to prove the efficacy, is there any percentage that this much percentage must be more or something like that?
No, that again, it depends on the patent office. The patent office will take care of all those things. But it has substantially, it should have a higher efficacy. So that means in the existing mechanism, the person skilled in the art, he should feel that, okay, that was not possible and we could able to achieve this efficacy with the admixture of these two things.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, one question.
Sure, please.
Sir, when we are going for some invention, at that time, from where we get information that the past invention is from where? Patent, Google patent, that is one option. Another option is there, sir?
See, Google patent is something, it's like not everything will be updated on the Google patents. It's like there are paid databases. Those paid databases will be updated every week wherever the application is filed. Say, for example, if the application is filed in US or Switzerland, so every week those patent databases will updating those patents. So in case if you search on the Google patents, you may miss the closest prior art. So you have to look into all these paid databases so that you can able to find a better closest prior art. So there are patent databases like Questel Orbit, Relicura. These are some examples for the paid databases.
Sir, can you put in chat box the name of this paid patent database so we can purchase them and we can go for the unique invention?
See, that's again, it's like it's a costly affair. It's like every databases will be costing around 2 to 2.5 lakhs. So for individual person, I don't think so it is feasible. So and it's not a good idea to purchase.
No, sir, for the organization I was.
Okay.
For the organization I was asking. Is there any free database for the patents that we can?
There are plenty of free databases like pre-patents online is there, IP.com is there, and Google Patents is there, PatentScope, and all these countries' patent databases. Also, you can look into it.
Thank you, sir.
So, sir, I want to just add one thing which my colleague Madhu has mentioned. So, if you want to get the basic ideas, Madhu has clearly explained that Google Patent Database, if you use that, you can't get a exclusive or specific or closer prior art. But in order to get the proper idea, you can use the Google Patent, you can use the EPO, where that's a European Patent Database. It's a free database and USPTO. But still, the problem which Madhu mentioned is there. You won't get the closest prior art, but you will get a good idea. So yes, it's like that.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, there is one question, sir. How to search non-English prior art documents?
So non-English prior art documents, as I said, you will not get anywhere in the pre-databases which are available to search. So you need to have a subscription of paid databases where the paid databases will be giving a translation of the non-English text. So still, if you want to do it, you can look into the EPO, eSpaceNet.
Thank you, sir. Is there any more questions left out? Anybody wants to ask the questions?
Sir, before publishing the research paper, can we patent that paper?
You have to. For example, if your invention is very unique and it has a lot of commercial value in it, so In case if you publish a research paper, what happens is you will lose the novelty. After that, you may not able to file a patent because your own publication will act as a prior art for you. That's why any invention, so at the initial stages, without publishing in the public domain, it needs to be protected. So at least file a provisional specification, then you can go ahead and publish. So once you file an application, that will give you a protection.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions, sir? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your patience, sir. Thank you for joining us today, sir. On behalf of Engineering College, I thank both of our chief guests for today's session for joining with us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for giving us an opportunity to present here, and we should thank our firm Fox Mandal and our partner Mr. Santosh Vikram Singh. He has given us opportunity to present here. So thank you very much. Thanks for all the participants who were sitting very patiently and listening to our presentation. Thank you very much, and thank you for my colleague and Rohit as well. And my other teammates who are helping in creating such a nice presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Participants, thank you, sir. Participants, you can kindly move for lunch now. Please do join back with us by 2 p.m. for the next session.
Thank you, ma'am. We will exit from the session.
Yes, thank you, sir.